Hey, hello, and welcome to Eat Sleep Code, the official Telerik podcast. How you doing, John? John
I'm
Bristowe.
well. How are you?
I'm doing good. Doing good. It's Tuesday afternoon here, or Tuesday afternoon. We're almost hump day here. You're already in the middle of the week though. Just starting out.
Yes, we're living in the future.
Hey
So
there. From the future. Speaking of the future, it definitely feels like it when you wake up to internet outages everywhere. So there was a massive Google outage today. If you
yeah,
haven't noticed,
someone tripped over an
just
extension cord.
yeah. So I think this is an outage dashboard that you posted here, John.
This is the Google Cloud status dashboard. Pretty much every company
Hmm.
worth their salt has these now. It's basically a status of where things sit. And as you can see, a few hours ago now, they had a little bit of a problem. It was a minor problem by the looks of it, but it did affect a large number of sites. So it's been well written, well documented by news organizations. So if you're interested at all, you can go check it out.
Yeah. So we had some streams this morning we had to cancel because the stream yard app that we use uses some sort of Google Cloud infrastructure. And I
Yep.
think it was getting like a DNS backfire somewhere because it kept 404ing on us.
Okay.
So this explains a lot here.
Yes.
Good stuff. Speaking of outages, you've got breach and outage bingo. I like this. What did we do with this here?
Yeah. So often, there's a lot of, if you're a fan of Troy Hunt and his "Have I Been Pwned" site, you may encounter, a leak of your not your credentials, but rather your email address and other personal identifiable information. We're living in that time now where people are being notified that their identity's been leaked potentially, and also we're living in a time when everything is now cloud connected. So everyone has a SaaS product, and as a result, you get these sort of outages occurring constantly. So yeah, outage bingo, worth checking out and playing. I thought this was kind of fun. It's
This
one of
is
those
good.
things where
Are these
yeah,
lighting
go ahead.
up on their own? Is this like a real time thing, or do I
You
have
can
to like?
create. Well, this is basically for the month. So that what they do is month over month, they basically talk about what's happened
Mhm.
in that month. You can actually create your own card at the bottom there, and see how you compete against your friends and all that. So, but yeah, this is basically a way to track what's occurred and kind of fun stuff. This has only been around for about a month, so
So this
well,
pulls
yeah.
data when you open it. It's not like constantly like
That's correct. So
WebSockety like
basically,
updating.
yes, that's right. So there's a bunch of common sort of outage parameters that you'll see. These are things like a certain cryptocurrency has been compromised, or Slack is down, or Twitter's down, or Tesla is being sold, or sort of thing.
I love
Some
this stuff.
major code hosting service is out. So yeah, just kind of interesting in that regard.
It's funny too. I love the comedic nature of it. Like we really dealt with this today. So I mean, this thing just lit up like crazy, but
Yes.
it's just like obligatory, like Microsoft Azure, Cloudflare,
Yes.
Reddit. These are all the things that we expect to hopefully not go
Yeah,
out,
so
but
these are all linked
you know,
obviously to the outages that you'll see, and so I guess the hope is that we'll see a full green card at some point. So
nice.
I don't know if that's a hope.
Yeah, it depends on who you are. What team are you on, John? Which side are you on?
uh, I don't know. It's kind of one of those
Team
things where
outage or
yeah, I know. It's
like
like one of those
watching
things
people
where
suffer, don't you?
that's right. That's right.
That's okay. I have some surprises for you at the end of the show. We always
Okay.
get into the weeds on things that I know you dislike. So at this
All
point,
right.
it's just me trolling you. But
Okay.
um,
Perfect.
what is the hardcore software rise and fall of the PC revolution by Steve
This is
Sinofsky?
actually this is actually a really interesting blog. I've met Steven Sinofsky. He's actually a really interesting guy. He used to work at Microsoft and was in charge of the I think I got to get this right. I think you can read his Wikipedia. I won't butcher it, but he worked at Microsoft, a corporate vice president, et cetera, et cetera. And he's left and he's now writing all these great stories about what was happening during the time that they were trying to ship Office, or they were trying to ship Windows, or they were trying to, compete with Lotus Notes, or things like that. So he gives his insights onto some of the things that he saw, and I've been reading this for a while, and I thought it was actually quite interesting, and so it's definitely worth checking out. I just thought if you're a developer or a product designer or a product manager, this is definitely something that should be kind of on your reading list.
Excellent. Yeah, it's like cool, like insider stories type of a thing.
Yeah, yeah,
Just from the headlines, it's well like documented. I like it. Very
yeah.
cool.
Hmm.
So speaking of Microsofty and Apple-y news, I picked this one up. I don't think we talked about it last week. It was on my agenda,
No.
but it slipped off somehow. So
Yes.
the M1s are pretty amazing in the architecture that, it's like that all-in-one system on a chip, allows for a lot of performance, but apparently there are some bugs in the system right now. So
Yeah.
these are extremely prone to memory leaks right now. So this is something that is supposed to be patched in an OS upgrade, but for right now, it seems like the unified memory architecture of these is a bit of a thorn in the side when there's a memory leak. So we've kind of been on this pseudo unified memory for a long time. That's virtual memory, but with a system on a chip like this and super fast solid state drives, you really don't need your typical RAM that you'd have on a PC. So you don't have your your RAM sticks necessarily on M1. I believe they're on board. Um, there's I don't recall if there's actual onboard memory on the device anymore, but we're going to more unified architecture here. So when you have a memory leak, it's eating up basically all of your available memory for that machine.
Yeah, there's a few
So
theories online about what this is attributed to. They're both most of them are posting it to or attributing it to WebKit. So that's
mhm.
interesting. Um, so I guess we'll see kind of where things land on this, but I don't think it's a hardware problem. It sounds to me like a software problem. So if that's the case, then obviously a patch will help rectify that. The reason
Yeah.
why WebKit was probably a good candidate was because people were observing certain programs that are utilizing WebKit underneath the covers. Most notably, you'll use like an Electron-based app or something like that. Slack's a perfect example of that. And so they said that by disabling extensions and by doing things around WebKit might help. I don't know. So yeah, people are making a lot of observations right now.
Yeah, again, I think it's a software issue as well, but the architecture amplifies it, I guess you could say, because of the way it handles memory um, physically. So
Right.
you're running on virtual memory quickly. It really takes a system down when it's this unified architecture like this. The bottleneck becomes apparent very quickly.
Right.
So it seems like an issue that'll get fixed, but for now, it's a bit of a problem.
Yes.
Speaking of Apple, looks like they're losing some ground in their court case against against the Fortnite developers Epic.
Okay.
So
Yep. I heard about this.
recently they were allowed, or Epic was allowed, I guess, to reinstantiate third party links and kind of circumvent the store.
Right.
So this is a ruling against Apple. I've heard a lot of back and forth on this. Still, there's the creators of Roblox are on the side of Epic,
Right.
and the argument there is with these platforms like Fortnite and Roblox, you have user created content, and they're already divvying up their their revenue from these
Mm.
apps, and they're having to split it with the Apple Store, and they're having to split it with these content creators, and the margins are getting so thin
Yes.
that it's getting to be to the point where it's not worth the investment. So this was one of the issues with the user created content was, you know, we've got people that are creating content for our platform, and we owe them money and here Apple's eating 30% of our lunch. So
Yes.
this court case is gonna make a big difference either way it shakes out. So it's interesting to see it play out.
Yeah. At the end of the day, this is about control. I think there is a
Mhm.
justification on both sides. So it is an interesting court case to watch. I don't know, obviously, all the arguments that are being made, but if you think about it, the infrastructure that Apple has to maintain to preserve an app store and then provide that to customers and to also provide assurance that the apps that go into that store are deemed trustworthy, etc., that does incur
Mhm.
a cost. While at the same time, I think there's an argument to be made that Epic is saying, like, listen, we should be able to freely sell to customers without having to incur, all these rates and charges on top of it. We built the software. Why can't we ship it the way we want, etc.? So,
Yeah.
yeah, it's tough.
Yeah. So like I guess the counter argument there is you kind of got this store within a store in some of these
Yeah,
cases. In the case of like Fortnite and Epic, you've
yeah,
got third parties creating things like skins and stuff like that. And those type of assets, these digital assets don't incur any kind of cost to Apple to do the things that you just said. Um, you know, for downloading the Fortnite game, of course they have to have a store and it has to be curated and there's servers and yada yada yada. But then when it comes down to buying these third party assets, there's no further investment by Apple there. It's just going through a link that's in an app that was served up by their store. And for
right,
that, they feel like they still deserve 30% of that purchase. So, these digital currencies and things that are going through these games and such, like there's a lot of gray areas to who deserves what, and some of these developers they want to pay out, to the content creators, and there's less of a pool to pull that money from when Apple's taking
right.
such a big bite of it. No
Yeah,
pun
it's
intended.
tough.
Okay,
It's
maybe
tough.
pun intended. Apple, their logo, the bite.
Yes,
Anyway,
yes.
all right. Open source ticker tape. What do we have here, John?
Yeah, so these are the folks at Polygon. They build market data solutions for developers, and they were kind of playing around with the idea of let's put a live ticker tape, sort of scrolling LED based on the outside of our building. And so they were playing around with this idea, and this is the implementation they came up with. You can see at the top of the building there. I thought it was kind of neat, kind of clever, just kind of an interesting way to promote your company, and that kind of puts it front and center of what you do, and
Mhm.
kind of having a fun way to do it. And they use a Raspberry Pi, I think, to basically render and set the pixels appropriately, etc., and scroll across. And then they've got some features to it which I thought were kind of clever, like you can notify the system that a big event has occurred, and it flashes the entire display as green and all that stuff. So yeah, I just like little projects like this that look cool and kind of align very well to what it is that they are focused on, which in this case is stock or market data. So yeah,
So it being open source, you can go download. Oh yeah, this is great.
I know.
So you can
Yep.
you can take this and run this on, you know, looks like other devices. It's probably in some sort of dev mode or something, but it's even the displays and everything it says in here are the hardware is open source too. So you could go build this if you wanted to and
Sure.
put it
Sure.
up in your office or something like that. Maybe
Sure.
maybe you're Google or Meta and you have multiple entities on the stock market. You want to build your own one of these and tailor it to, show your show your subsidiaries. Go
Yeah.
for it. It's open
Yep.
source. Very cool. I like it. That's neat.
Yeah.
Um, Speaking of processing lots of things, billions of events in real time at Twitter, which
Yeah,
is
so Twitter is well known for doing a lot of transactions via real time through all the tweets and notifications and all that stuff that goes on. And so this is a sort of high level architectural breakdown of some of the things that they've done to provide that implementation. And so I thought it was actually a really detailed post. They talk about the use of Kafka, which is Apache Kafka, which is great. Kafka, excuse me. And and so they talk about where they came from and what they're going to, and the challenges that they were facing. And so this is their old system here, where they're using Hadoop and Kafka and a variety of other platforms. And so, yeah, just kind of looking at where they're going and the flow of the data as it goes through their system. I thought it was kind of an interesting thing. So these are
Yeah,
hard
it's
problems, these
really
sort
cool.
of large amounts of processing without kind of, eating the entire budget of your team because of cloud requirements, so it's tough, but you can get it. You can get it there if you take your time and you approach it, methodically, etc. So I thought it was a good article.
Yeah,
I
that's
like
it's
these
cool to see.
engineering blogs. Sorry,
Yeah.
I meant to say,
No, I think we're about to say the same thing. Go ahead.
yeah, I love when engineering teams take a open approach to some of the ideas that they're thinking about. So, uh, anytime you have an engineering team talking openly about, hey, we made a mistake here, we want to improve this or fix that, I love it. It's great because it tells you, one, it tells you, okay, you're not alone, you make mistakes too, and two, it gives you insights into how they approached specific problems, which I actually find really interesting.
Yeah, that's about what I was going to say. I mean, I can't even imagine how these gigantic systems like Twitter are architected, and to be able to peek behind the curtain just a little bit is really cool.
Sure.
Speaking of Twitter, did you know you can subscribe to Twitter now? A Twitter subscription model has been announced for the US and for New Zealand. I don't know
Those
why it's
are
particularly
okay.
those two places, but this is where it rolled out.
All right.
Twitter Blue. So have you
Is
heard
this
of
like
this yet,
is
John?
this like, JetBlue or something like that?
So this is a way that Twitter, I guess, is looking to monetize a little bit. One of the
Okay.
things, it seems like you're getting into like a pay for access to beta features, in my opinion. But some of the things that are in here are like the undo tweet.
Oh,
You
wow.
get a
I would
time.
have loved to have had that.
Did you do something bad, John? Have you been canceled?
No, just I make a spelling mistake and I ruminate about it for
Yes, I do that a lot.
hours.
Yeah, so undo tweet is one of them. I think it's got a timer on it, so within like so many minutes or half an hour, whatever it is, you're able to undo a tweet. Um, it's up to 30 seconds. There we go. Up to 30 seconds. You can go, oops, I spelled something wrong, or I posted the wrong time for the show, which is what I always do. Or I forgot to add the link, for the thing that I just tweeted. You can undo, and
Yeah.
you can redo
You
that.
have to watch
Uh,
their ad, by the way. This ad that they put out is fantastic.
oh
So as you
yes, it's
scroll
very
down
campy.
yeah,
It's very
it's very nice.
campy. I don't know if I have my audio piped for this, but
Yeah, they're like, "Are you ready to pump up your experience with Twitter? Well, introducing Twitter Blue." And this is like an 80s theme sort of motif and all that. The kids these days, they're into the 80s, I guess. When I was a kid, we were into the 60s, but
yeah,
possibly the 70s a little bit. That we were in the 70s, I guess. But yeah.
yeah, it's like the Jane Fonda workout video
Sure,
like
sure. Yeah.
theme there.
Break out a can of Tab and, Crystal Light and all that, and yeah, perfect.
Yeah, we just totally dated ourselves there. Um,
I did myself.
so
Yeah, go ahead.
I did say Jane Fonda workout video, so I had that going for me. Uh, Ad-free articles. So I guess some of the feeds that you get on Twitter now are posts from like New York Times and Wall Street Journal and stuff like that.
Right.
Some of those outlets, I don't know which ones. It doesn't really say. Uh, those, when you click through from Twitter, are free. So I guess they have some kind of arrangement with those news outlets to allow certain articles to be free through the service.
Okay.
So I know I get those quite often, and I click through and I'm like, I can't read it, and I just bail. Bookmark folders, like again, these are some of these things just sound like beta features that they're gonna end up rolling out to other people after a while. So you kind of get like early access to these things. Bookmark folders, app icons, longer upload videos. This one's kind of cool. This could be worth it if you're a
Creator.
social media influencer.
Yeah.
So you by default get 2 hours or 2 minutes, 2 hours, 2 minutes. If you pay the $2.99, you get 10 minutes.
Okay.
So if you're developing an influencer brand, you get a large audience on YouTube or whatever. You want to
Yep.
post some
Yep.
stuff on Twitter as well. You got 10-minute videos. You could post a piece of your let's say podcast, yeah,
All right.
or Twitch stream, and give previews and stuff on Twitter that are longer than 2 minutes. There's article curation. I don't know what custom navigation is. An app theme. It looks like you can customize a lot of customization stuff in here.
Yes.
So you really have to be into Twitter, but it's really not that expensive either. It's just $2.99 a month. And if you get value out of those things I just mentioned, then $2.99 doesn't sound like a lot.
No.
And I
No.
don't know if it's for me, but it's
No,
definitely for
not
some
for
people.
me either.
Etsy's Journey to TypeScript, another engineering blog, it sounds like.
Yeah. So Etsy is, obviously a very popular way to do e-commerce. They typically feature like vintage stuff. So if you're one of those hipster persons who likes toques and wearing scarves and suspenders when it's like 80 degrees out, this might be the place for you. I
Stereotype
don't know.
at
Look,
Etsy
I
users
know
is
I'm the
not
worst.
what
Okay,
Etsy
this
has
is
on
all I
it.
know.
Jesus.
Dude, this is all I know. I don't know much more about that. I haven't really been to Etsy all that much, but I do know that they've got a pretty
Wow.
capable stack. So that being said, they, because of Etsy's prominence on the web, they obviously have a great experience. And so this is a pretty detailed article about the hows and the whys and the whens of what they were doing around TypeScript relative to their engineering. And they started off like very kind of strategic and very careful and methodic, but after a while they went into utilizing some capabilities that are like pretty hard to get right if you have a large project, like being able to turn on strict mode across the entire code base. And they have quite a significant code base. So talking about all those things was really interesting to read about. And so if you're a developer who's trying to convince your boss that TypeScript is the way to go, then this is going to give you a little bit of a kind of a, I guess, a fortune, a seek into the future of what it might look like for you.
I'll have to find a presentation by a good friend of mine, David Pine. He talks about what the benefits are, and they're listed in here. But he has a really good, to the point conference talk about when you migrate to TypeScript, you get the strict typing and everything you'd get like from C#. And he goes through demos, and he's like, you move this from a JS file to a TS file, and then like all these errors light up, and it's like, here's all the things you're probably missing with unit tests and everything else, and you're going to catch those errors right away. So yeah, this is something I've heard before. This is just being said from a bigger stage here, because Etsy, the hipster. Man,
Sorry, that's
somebody clip John from earlier. I need a clip of that.
No, please don't.
That's getting clipped. Oh my gosh. There's so much more there.
Isn't that
it's
true?
a good
They
story,
sell
man.
vintage stuff. Don't they sell vintage stuff? I thought they did.
They sell anything. It's kind of like a homemade people that have like homemade goods and artwork and small craft items. If you were to go to like a farmer's market and there's like a craft section,
so I'm not far off. Okay, like people get what I'm saying, So anyway, like
no, we have it on record. That is not what you said, my friend. We're clipping that, and it will get replayed.
Sorry.
Probably.
Sorry, apologize now.
I think it should be part of our intro. I think. Like that.
What's that? Bloopers.
That's making
great.
It. Yes. Great article.
Stop hacking my face, sort of thing, things like that. Yeah.
Yeah. We need a best of. That's gonna make it in the top 10. That's why I invited you, John. This is good stuff. I know you're actually a user of Brave, John. I thought you might appreciate this one. So Brave now has a crypto wallet included in it.
Yes. In fact, Brave was pushing their cryptocurrency called BAT for a while. I don't know if anyone really took it up. Basically, they would pay you to use their browser in certain ways. I never turned that on, but Brave's a fine browser. It's privacy first, basically, and people often like, oh, what do you got to hide? Blah blah blah. I'm like, well, listen. I mean, if anything about cookie tracking and all that sort of stuff has taught you anything, like people do know what you're looking at, and I don't feel comfortable with corporations knowing everything about me. So I'll use in the meantime something like Brave and protect myself a little bit. But yeah, so
This
having
is cool
integrated,
though.
yeah, crypto wallet is actually, I think, interesting thing. Now, I think you got to be careful though. Cryptocurrency. I think you hear all these horror stories of people losing everything or forgetting their master pass key or things of that nature. So I would definitely be careful and evaluate it. But yeah, it is kind of neat.
Yeah, more to like what you just said though, if you lose your keys to your crypto wallet, your money's essentially gone for good. It's like it's just gone. Like there's no getting it back. You might as well like take out a stack of
Yeah,
money and set it on
yeah,
fire. That's the equivalent of it. Um, and something like a wallet within your browser, it's much like the key pass key password key manager that you have in Chrome and Edge and Brave, where it remembers your password for things. This is
sure.
a way of kind of safeguarding the loss of that password, but you still want to have a backup of it somewhere. I was just a safe with a written master password somewhere. Um, there's ways to do that as well, but
Hmm.
this is just making it a little bit easier to kind of keep track of that stuff, and it's got a nice looking UI, and I think that's a first. I think I don't think any of the other browsers have anything like this without quote an extension. So
Yeah.
that seems to be a first there.
I think it's built on existing protocols around Web3, if I remember correctly. There are some protocols that are floating out there, and I think that's part of the reason why this has been implemented because they can using those specs. But I could be wrong.
And you can keep track of your NFTs because I know you're a
Right.
collector of
Yes.
those, John.
I'm gonna go with the Russian doll approach on this because I think I'll just take screenshots of people arguing over NFTs on Twitter, and I'll take a screenshot of that, which includes the NFT embedded photo, and then go higher and higher and higher, sort of thing. So
It's a pretty good idea. You better do that quick because somebody's going to steal it. uh, apparently, Etsy is good for custom dog jerseys too. I think that's what that
okay,
comment came from.
there you go.
Did not know that. Probably is a thing. Speaking of browsers, though, we just talked about Brave. Uh, Microsoft is blocking Edge Deflector. This
Hmm.
is an app that stops some of the like clippy like behavior that Windows has, where it's like, I see you're surfing the web. You probably should be using Edge,
Sure.
and it tries to advertise Edge to you. This is just a post kind of ranting about how that ability's been taken away. They're kind of tightening the grip again on the default browser stuff, and
Okay.
this ad is like super annoying and keeps bouncing around in front of me. But we're going to talk about this next, so I'm glad it popped up because we talked about browsers and we're talking about Microsoft, and next we're going to talk about Meta and Facebook.
Oh, good.
So speaking of, I know, I know you're anticipating that. I haven't got to that part of the show yet, so I think you're actually going to like it. But before we get
All right.
into too much of the Meta stuff, React is a Facebook thing. So this is somewhat relevant to Facebook.
Yeah.
React 18 is now in beta. It was in alpha.
Okay.
So they flipped the switch over to beta.
Hmm.
So it is now in beta mode. So there's been a bunch of posts on the repo about React 18, what beta means for you, what compatibilities are there between the last version. Do you need to update dependencies
Yep.
to have things work in
Yep.
18? Those things are in the discussions for the React repo. So make sure you go, if you're interested in React, make sure you go there and see what's new with React 18. I know we just had like the huge .NET 6 .NET 6 launch with all the new bits there. And if you're doing
Yep.
React, you've got more new stuff to go check out. So
Neat.
React repo
I like it.
up there on the GitHubs. Make sure you check that out. Now we're going to talk about John's favorite thing, the Metaverse. I'm pretty sure you saw the announcement here, the keynote announcement. Have you seen this? It's funny this ad came up. Oh, you haven't seen the announcement.
Oh, good. Oh, good.
So,
Mark. Just
I'm
while
going to mute so I can talk over this. But
most awkward person on the planet telling us about some website. Great. Thanks, Mark.
So this is actually quite a long keynote, so we're not going to watch this for too long here. But
good,
you know how awkward.
Didn't he have a bottle of like barbecue sauce on his bookshelf behind him? I thought I saw a meme of that.
I have no idea. I know he's a really awkward presenter.
Yes,
you know, his mannerisms and things are a little bit different. So he goes through like this whole like virtual, like we're going to jump into my virtual world and talk about the metaverse. And I'm painting a visual here because this is going to be very relevant in a minute. So, you know, keep in mind this, you know, the stage that he's setting here and what this all looks like. So, yeah, this is not creepy at all. Not creepy at all. Yeah. So he goes through the whole spiel, and this is an hour long of this. So with that said, the fine folks in Iceland at the travel, what do you call it? I don't know what the name of it is, but you know, the folks that are in charge of
tourism.
Yes, thank you. The tourism board came up with their own video, and this is fantastic. I'm going to play it with full sound here. So this is about 2 minutes long. Stick around for this, John. We'll talk about it when we get back.
Hi, and welcome to this very natural setting. Today, I want to talk about a revolutionary approach on how to connect our world without being super weird. Some said it's not possible. Some said it's out of reach. To them, we say it's already here. Seriously, look, it's right here. And what do we call this not-so-new chapter in human connectivity? The Iceland-verse. Enhanced, actual reality without silly-looking headsets. In our open-world experience, everything is real. And has been for millions of years. It's completely immersive, with water that's wet. With humans to connect with. You're human, right? Isn't she funny? In the Iceland-verse, there's real moss you can look at, but please don't touch. It's very delicate. Skies you can see with your eyeballs. Volcanic rocks you can caress. Really big geysers you can observe from a safe distance. Birds you can watch. They're really cute, but a bit stupid. Waterfalls you can stand near, like this one, that one, this one, that one, and even this one. Horses you can ride, with hair you can touch. The Iceland-verse is a world with possibilities so endless, they'll be here forever. So join us today, or tomorrow, or whenever. We are really easygoing. Now, please enjoy our logo.
Yep. Well done. Well done. Kudos to Iceland. That was good.
That was really good. When I saw that, I didn't want to spoil it, but I did want to reach out to you, John, and ask if they had contracted you to help write that, because I think I've heard you say all those things before.
I know. Look, my take on all this stuff is fine. Go for it. I just think that I don't know. I think the world is pretty exciting on its own, and I think that if you're gonna try to escape to some fictional place, then God bless you. But I think that step outside and look around. It's pretty cool, and I think it's gonna also affect the way you feel about you know what we're doing to our planet and all that sort of. Sorry, I'm getting on a political rant here, but it's the same thing, right? So I think if you isolate yourself from the realities of the world, I think you become disconnected, and so that's why I think it's not the biggest thing for me. But I can understand the applications are there. I don't know. I'm not really into it, but that's my own personal take. So, and that's coming from a
the
software
video. Whoever orchestrated that video, produced that. Phenomenal work.
Oh,
like,
sure.
They nailed the nuances of
Yes.
not only
I love
tech,
running into the I love the running into the door face first, and it's just the subtlety there. It's nice. I like it.
the deadpan humor.
Yes.
The Mark Zuckerberg wannabe, Icelandic
Haircut,
Mark
yes.
Zuckerberg.
Yes, I know.
All of it just like perfect. I thought that was hilarious when I saw it. Definitely a share for me. One last video here. We won't run this one with sound because it's just music playing anyway. But to top off the whole metaverse concept here, let's zoom in for this one.
Please don't tell me
you're gonna love this. You're gonna love this, John.
Great.
So we've got the giant projector device we drop on.
Does the food come out
table.
of this? Oh God, why are we doing this? What is wrong with the menu?
Because that looks so much better than a photo of a burger.
It doesn't. It looks terrible. This is so dumb. Like, that doesn't even look real. That doesn't even look real. What is this? Why are they doing this?
Yeah,
Yes,
this
that's what I
one
feel
baffles
like.
me a bit.
Look, there's
Yeah.
a solution for this. It's called the Smitty's menu. If you've ever been to Smitty's, you get, or maybe the Olive Garden or something like that, you get that giant menu with all the pictures already in it. I think I can figure it out. Thank you. I don't need some 3D hologram of this thing to figure. Oh, that's what a steak looks like. Okay, thanks. I was really confused.
Yeah.
Actually, there is one exception to this, which is the Cheesecake Cafe. That menu is ungodly big. I mean, it's so big.
Oh yeah, Cheesecake Factory. Yeah.
Yes,
Cheesecake.
Sorry, Cheesecake Factory. Sorry, that's what I meant to say. Excuse me.
And you getting that wrong is actually points in your court, because
no, it's like
that
War
just
and
means
Peace.
you don't
They
eat
drop
there.
it on your table, and they're like, "All right, we'll see you later in like 3 weeks when you're ready to order." So
yeah,
every possible ever menu item. So
the hollow lamp. I'm not sure that's the implementation I'm looking for.
That thing runs probably about. That thing probably costs about $5,000, and it offers
it
zero.
Probably does.
Yeah, it's like, why?
Not to mention professional services, right? Like, they don't just give you the little Fisher Price projector and call it a day.
Yeah.
You got to have somebody come in and 3D photography the food.
Yes.
And you look at all the money that's being invested in that. What is the tech that you currently use for something like that besides a menu? Like, think out loud here. What else is being done? I've worked in food service, so I can tell you, the chef comes in and they make the dessert, and one of them goes on a plate, and that gets put on a cart that goes around the restaurant, and you point at it, and you're that real piece of cheesecake looks good. Bring me one just like it that hasn't had everybody's COVID sneezed on it for the last 2 hours.
I don't know why. I would love to be in these meetings where people pitch these ideas and just listen to everyone around the room and just wait to see if there's someone in there who's like, is this a good idea? Should we really be doing this? It's like that meme where the guy gets thrown out the office building, right? It's kind of like, why don't we just use menus? Like, we seem to get by fine with menus. It's like a solution looking for a problem, basically. And
so I'll finish this off with a real story. Okay, so this is a real thing that happened. So back in the day, before I worked in tech, again, I worked in food service in a bunch of different ways. One of the places I worked for, I can say the name because they're not in business anymore. It was called Kenny Rogers Roasters, and every morning when we opened, we would make a plate of food, a physical plate of food. And we would take a piece of chicken and some corn and, mashed potatoes, whatever it was. That was like their main staples. Put that on a plate. That plate would get set in the doorway of the restaurant on a nice little table with a napkin.
Sure.
And when people walk in, they're like, okay, that's what the food looks like. No projectors involved. Yeah, there was a little bit of food waste. But
but you can give that. You can give that
on display.
There's a lot of restaurants that do that, and then they donate the food after the fact. It's still edible, and then they donate the food to people who want to eat it. No, if you keep it behind a glass
display
case.
that.
Okay.
It was set out for
I know
hours,
pizza shops do this. They'll donate whatever's left over.
So we would put that out, I think, at 10 a.m. Okay,
that's probably not good.
Again,
at the end of the day, sorry.
Keeping up with the true story here. You're getting a little ahead of me. Yeah, and Rocketman here says, some of the steak is brought out uncooked for you to view before they cook it. Yep. So 10 o'clock in the morning, we open up. This plate is like the first thing that's made. So maybe it's 9:30 when it's being made. It gets put out 10 a.m. The doors open. They stay open through 10, 11 o'clock at night. Okay. Depending weekday, weekend. No joke. This is a dead serious story. We're closing in like 10 minutes. So it is at the peak of its like 12-hour been sitting out in the public view cycle.
Sure.
This is not behind glass. It is just on a table. That's it. So this guy comes in and he's with his girlfriend on a date. And he looks at the menu and he looks at the prices and he's like, I ain't got enough for the both of us. And he's like, that plate out front, is that real? And we're like, yeah, it's real. He's like, can I eat it? We're like, hey, we're closing in 10 minutes. We don't care what you do with it. So the guy takes his last $10, buys his girlfriend dinner, walks over and grabs the stone cold 12-hour-old plate of chicken and goes and sits and eats dinner with his girlfriend. I'm like, wow, that is hardcore dating right there. I mean, that guy deserves some props from his girlfriend. Anyhow, that's
and now you can display it on now you can get around that by putting on a Metaverse helmet and navigating all the food items. I don't know, it's just like, what's wrong with reality? Reality's pretty good. So
yeah, if you're willing to take one for the team though, and give your girlfriend the hot plate and go eat the display. I mean, that's real chivalry if I ever heard it.
I think that's more stupidity than anything else. You're risking, food poisoning. So chivalry has got nothing to do with that. That's just, come on, dude, just go home.
Oh,
make something yourself. Make something for yourself at home. Split the meal. You know what? You're really that hungry? You're going to eat a 12-hour-old display set table, whatever. I don't know what these things are.
We should have had him sign a waiver, I think. I was probably like 16 or something at the time. So this is like a long time ago, but it really happened. Me and my wife we worked at the same place together. We were just like,
yep.
Is this for real? Is this right guy really going to eat it? Like, you
never
know.
Like is it behind the kitchen window? Like peering out. Like he's eating it. He's eating it.
Because you don't know if people are trying to like, this is their routine to get like a free meal. Like if that's their rub to be like, oh, we'll just give you one too. You know what I mean? Or if he's really just like, I'm just going to eat that.
I guess. All right.
Yeah. Anyway, got off topic, but I don't think we need the Fisher Price lamp. Like, it reminds me of those things. What is it called? Where you put the little disc projector thing in oh man, what are those? There's
a few. There's a kaleidoscope.
The Viewmaster.
There's a kaleidoscope. Yeah, Viewmaster.
Viewmaster was yeah. So there was a Viewmaster projector in my day, and it looked almost like that, but less vertical, more horizontal. And you'd put the little disc in there and like press the button, and it would show it on the wall, and it was the greatest thing ever when you're like,
it was awesome.
5 years old.
Yeah,
but I don't think we need the virtual food spinning on the table.
No, this is a dumb
and it's
dumb idea.
it's a dead tech walking, because we're all going to have our faces hacked soon, and we'll just view it on our AR thing anyway, right, John?
Hard no. Hard no.
I don't think I'm going to invest in something that's going to be obsolete in a couple of years to begin with. But
it's not even about that. I don't feel compelled to have that experience. I'll just go to the restaurant. Thank you. Just talk to me like a human being. Please.
Surprise me.
Yeah.
Surprise me. Tell me what it's made out of.
Look, I'm an introverted person by nature. You can ask my wife. I'm not always super comfortable talking to people, but I want to talk to a person and I want to say, hello, how are you? Hey, great. Nice to meet you. Could you tell me about your specials? Blah, blah, blah. And now I'm going to have this impersonal experience of like talking to this, I don't know what. And he's going to project some generic looking stock art sample photos on my linen tablecloth. And like, that's going to compel me like, yes, I want that. The burger with the curly fries kills me. I don't know why I don't know why people are doing this. I don't know. We have so many other problems to fix in reality, in the real world. Why are we doing this? I don't get it. Whatever.
Yeah. See, I had to stir you up for the day. Like this is John's morning, so this is the way I get to kick off his Wednesday. So
you're
welcome for that, John.
Dolphins washing up on the beach because there's no more fish or whatever, and there's more methane now than we ever thought possible. And like, okay, no, this is the problem. We have to project curly fries on someone's tablecloth.
I just started off.
Kudos to the engineer who actually built that. I don't know if you saw it, but there's an engineer who built they wanted to clean up the garbage patch in the Pacific, and so they're doing it. That's a classic. That's a great example of what we can do when we put our mind to things. And so, that's what I like to see. And the engineer, I think it's Sea Change or Sea Save or something like that. And this engineer built this big long sort of net that was designed to allow fish to swim through, etc. But it would capture all the plastic that's floating around in the ocean. That's what I want to see more of. We're going to launch the James Webb Space Telescope next month. That's what I want to see more of. I don't want to see this stuff. Reality's boring, right? Let's project you into this new environment. It's like, come on. We've got better problems to work on here. Let's go. We don't have time to lose.
I'll share one more thing, like on the same subject still, not to beat a dead horse here, but like this is what Japan has been doing for quite some time. Is they make fake food out of plastic, and it's surreal. I mean, it looks like the real thing, and it lasts forever, so you don't have to worry about like the food waste aspect of it.
Sorry, I'm breathing into the microphone.
So I mean, these are the menu at some Japanese restaurants, and it's a very lifelike looking plastic food, and it's an art form that they're able to replicate it like to
they
where
do
it
this
looks
at
so real.
They do this at sushi train restaurants where they put the fake bought glass of beer and, you try and grab it and it's fake and all that, but they're just trying to entice you basically to buy some of these things. So,
but I mean, this is like an example of this is a solved problem. This isn't.
Yeah. $74. Wow. All right.
Yeah. And these are probably aftermarket. Like I believe the restaurants don't buy these like in bulk. They have them custom made for their dishes.
These are all made from these are all made from PVC. It says right there, which means these are going to last for hundreds to thousands of years in our environment. We're gonna the decade or millennia from now, the aliens will come land on Earth and rummage through the trash, and they'll find thousands of these roast beef replica PVC symbols kind of just polluting the entire surface of the Earth. Like, why are we doing this? Anyway, sorry. Rant over.
Yeah, I always pick on the kids. They're like, the ocean's full of trash. That was your generation. Oh, by the way, check out this bobblehead I just got. I'm like,
yeah, I know. This is why I don't take swag from conferences. I stopped doing that decades ago. So I was going to conferences way back when, and I said basically no to swag personally. I don't mind if you like it and all that, but I have a personal opinion about swag, and I'm like, all this stuff just ends up going into the trash ultimately, I think. so I don't take it. Now, I'm not
Well,
trying to
John,
do that. Like, I'm not trying to break my arm patting myself on the back, but I'm like, at the same time, it's like, listen, most of the stuff that you're gonna get, all this plastic stuff, it's got to go somewhere. It just doesn't go poof and disappear. It's got to end up somewhere. It's like that classic Bill Burr rant where he's like, remember that flannel shirt you had back in the 90s when you were into Pearl Jam? That's out there somewhere, floating around, probably stuck around some porpoise's neck.
Yep.
So,
all right.
Yeah.
We should wrap things up. let you get on with your day. It's been interesting. We'll bring you more interesting things next week. I don't think I can top the Metaverse video next week.
I apologize. I apologize.
Epic.
I apologize. It's just I don't. We got big problems to work on. We gotta get the brains working on those. Not simulated roast beef.
I will push John's buttons more next week, and we will see you throughout the week. I've got a Blazer Power Hour tomorrow.
Sweet.
And we have React Wednesday and Alyssa's JS Girl and .NET World and all sorts of stuff. So if you haven't hit follow already, please don't unfollow because of me and John. But if you haven't followed already, go ahead and hit follow. Check out all of our other amazing hosts here. And Sam, let's not forget Sam and his Maui stuff that he does on Thursday. Lots of Maui content coming your way. So
Sweet.
John, thank you again, my friend. We'll see you next week.
Sorry, I feel bad.